It's Joe, and this is my next project.
Well, today's the day. Today's the day we're going to start refining this body down and making some of these body lines a little tighter. You can see this has been laying down, and we're going to figure out just exactly how this thing goes together. And I knew it would come. I haven't really thought about it a lot in detail, but I have thought about it. And it is this hinge. These Volkswagens had the hinge up in the mirror, way up high in the mirror sticking out. Now, I think you could have used that, but on this first one, I would rather have the hinge down lower where it doesn't look like some oddball piece sticking out of the top. These are going to be suicide doors. And interesting about the doors, how they've evolved over the years. I remember those 74 Monte Carlo doors that are 4 feet long and weighed a ton if you're trying to carry them. And they just ate up hinges. They sagged those hinges and the bolts stripped out. These little Volkswagen doors, and most of the cars these days, are very tight. The old hinges, they would adjust up and down. You could adjust this gap. You could make it longer, shorter. You could make the front of the door go up and down. Very little of this adjusts anymore. They just build it right. They build it right. They build the body right, and everything fits. So when we build this up here, it's got to be perfect and fit. And the way we do that is I'm going to make it adjust up and down a little bit. There'll be a little bit of adjustment there. I can't have it where the door drags or doesn't close or you have to slam it. One of the problems is there's really no giant piece of metal to weld to in here. These are all multi-level pieces that we've all cut apart, and the bolt is really needing to go through back in here. This little piece is going to have to go. There's pieces all down in here, but that's nothing we can't figure out. Also, I wanted to show you the lower hinge. The lower hinge right here sticks outside the body about an inch or so, and it is back from this door seam about 2 inches. And it's not a compound hinge like the old General Motors cars, Fords and all that used to be. It's just a simple hinge, and it stakes outside the body. It's about an inch out and about 2 inches back. And I've found this hinge that I'm gonna try to cut apart and make it work. But I'm gonna make it look like, I'm gonna use the pivoting part, and I'm going to try to make this look more like an old beer cooler, like a beer cooler hinge. Where do I have those hinges? Like these over here. Like those hinges, right there. Not exactly like them, but we'll make it something like them, and we'll let them rust. So in order to do that, I had to take all this top off, which that won't take but a minute. It's just sitting there where we can see, and we will get at it. I'm gonna come up with a game plan, which I don't really have right now. So I'm gonna have to figure something out, and I will come back and tell you the whole game plan, and then we'll get after it. Be right back. Well, here's the game plan. I think before we can put these hinges on, we have this piece of metal, which I'm sure you remember. needs to go on there and really be stabilized, because can't be hooking a hinge up there and that thing's slopping around. And I can't put that on there until I put this other one on here, which is this one. And let's do this in the right order here. Take this off for a sec. And, well, let me go even further than that. We have to have a way to hold this on here. And I ain't putting screws on the outside of this thing. That's not going to happen. And I don't want bolts showing from up here. And I'm not going to pop rivet it from in here, unless I decide I like pop rivets. And then I'm evenly spacing them and making them prominent and making them look right. But at this time, I'm not. This piece right here needs to be somewhat adjustable. Just a little bit. It's important. Most of the adjustment needs to be up and down on each end. That's easy enough. So here's today's 2-year plan. Is I have these little pieces of metal, one of which will go, it'll weld in somewhere just like that. Similar to that. I can tack the outside skin to it. I can tack it to this piece. I can tack it to these two there and tack the inner to it and get it good and stable. And I have this other piece that's going to go. I was right the first time. I think that goes. No, wasn't right. It's going to go right about there, where this one's approximately level and this one is approximately level. Then we will take this piece and put on top of it. And if I had a third hand, which I do, where's my little clampy things? Here they are. Those. I like these little baby vice grips. They're pretty cool. And that's going to kind of hold it on. Flush with this, flat on the top. Flush here, but it's a little bit gappy here. This door kind of goes in just a little bit. That's okay. All is well. The inside of the door will be nice. And when we put our piece out here, this piece will sit on there. If it doesn't fall off first. Trust me, when I weld it on there, it's not going to fall off. It may fall off while we're videotaping though. Videotaping. And no tape. There's no tape. Anyway, this will get on there. On this end, it'll be tighter like that. It's just bent a little bit. If I was a good videographer, I would have all this set up. I'd have the assistant. They would set it all up. Anyway, this will get tacked onto here when it fits the outside correctly. Then I will locate the before mentioned straps underneath there. I'll drill a hole down through here. I'll put a stud down through there and I'll weld that stud and grind it all flush right here. That way I can reach under there and put a nut right up under there on it. Also, I could stack some washers or a spacer to make it go up and down. Same here. I'm going to be able to reach under there. There it is. I can feel it. I'll drill a hole, put a stud down through there, weld the back of the stud up, and grind it off where it's flush. And this will all be smooth. It'll have just a little lip where this goes. Oh. It'll just have a little lip in it. That's the way all that's going to work. And then we will move on to mounting the hinge. Once we have the folly down piece here, once we have this on there well enough, we're going to put a little stiffener piece of metal up in there, as well as back behind here, and we'll build our little beer box hinge right through here. And I've got it figured where we can have 2 bolts in it here and 2 bolts in it there. And I will cut this all apart, and it's gonna be cool. I got it all drawn out. And I'm gonna tell you what that's off of. I don't remember what it's off of, but I got a video. I do know, and I am gonna tell you, because it's pretty good to have a little cast hinge like that, that actually is, I think it's forged, and not be a stamped metal hinge. I kind of like this better. It's just cool. So that's where we're at. I've got to get to work, but I've got to get this video in the can. Otherwise, you're going to wake up with nothing to watch. We wouldn't want that to happen. Thanks for tuning in.